Hello there, and welcome to my first installment of basically what I call playing around with some Microsoft tools. And one of my favorite tools to play with is OneNote, and my students certainly get a kick out of utilizing OneNote within various aspects of our classroom and instruction and so forth. And I'm just going to kind of give you a quick example of one of my students' favorite things they like to work on throughout the year, which is my little Sane in the Membrane guide here, which was inspired by the game The Witness by Jonathan Blow, and the kids absolutely love it. So this is just kind of an idea of what the kids would see. The whole thing isn't here, but I just wanted to show you, some of the neat little tools that I like to play around with, and I honestly learn little things or something new almost every time I play around with OneNote, which is why I enjoy it so much. First of all, they would get kind of an idea of, why puzzles and brain teasers for my students, and they can read through it and so forth, just to kind of get a background on why they're doing what they're doing. You'll see here that it says research has demonstrated. I was able to easily add a hyperlink to take the students out to that. If they click it, you simply highlight what you want. You can go insert link and find whatever article that you want to work with, and you can copy the URL and paste it in here and hit OK. And you'll see when the little hand pops up, it is indeed hyperlinked, so it should take my students out to this article that talks about brain research from USA Today, if they choose to read that. As they work their way down, I mentioned, as I said before, most of the activities are taken from the phenomenal video game The Witness by Jonathan Blow. He did give me, the go-ahead to pursue this. He was very gracious about it, so if the kids are interested, as in many of my video game creations, they want to know where the full game is or so forth, and if they choose to buy it and play it on their own, great. So you'll see here, one of my favorite things in OneNote, I love playing with tags, and the tags are up here. And let's say that there's a particular website that I want to make sure that they visit, not just necessarily if they feel like clicking this hyperlink here, but you'll notice it has the little tag or icon here of the globe with the link icon here. So it means in the tag form, if you go to the tags here under the home link, and this is the application version. The cloud version, there are some differences, but there are still plenty of tags that you can work with within the cloud app as well. So anyway, I click the tag, and I type in The Witness in this case because it is the game, and if the kids see that little icon, they know, hey, go out and take a gander at it. So they click it. And it should take them to the Steam page of the actual game where, if they're interested, they certainly can learn more about it, during our studies or after or whatever. So they can do that as well. Now, I have many levels here. I'm just going to show you one. So you'll see over here in OneNote, I have the sections, and those correlate to pages within the notebook. So each section is like a new, I don't know, kind of like a new heading of sorts, if you had like dividers in a notebook or whatnot. So the first entry, that they do, the kids would see something like this, and they have their first puzzle. Now, one of the things my kids love to do is when they're solving these puzzles in OneNote, they need to use the drawing tool, so that's very easy to find up here in the ribbon up here. You hit draw, they can use a pen, marker, highlighter, whatever the case may be. I'll use a highlighter, I'll use a pretty pink, and the kids would have to, in this case, choose how do they think this puzzle would be solved. Really, all they're going to be able to do is go right to left or left to right. So let's say I go left to right. I do a little arrow like that to show that was my idea. When I'm ready to type again, you'll see over here in the draw section, there's a text mode. Just click that, and I'll get my cursor back, and I'm able to type. Obviously, being primarily an English class, my kids have to write with everything they do. So in this case, you would see over here a very small circ paragraph, just kind of getting them to think about what they had just done. So to solve this puzzle, one must, and then they, this person, for example, said, draw a line from left to right. And then they would give me evidence, and, for example, they would give me the reason, and then they have their closing sentence to wrap it up. Then when they've done that, they would go to this hyperlinked picture. Again, all I needed to do was get a link from my YouTube video or YouTube channel where all my videos are, and I go insert, hyperlink or link. I paste the address in here, I hit OK, and then you would see the hand pop up. So when the kids are ready, So this student went left to right. So he would or she would go to this page, and they would get to the first puzzle. And when they get to the end of the hallway there, we'll see what happens to go ahead and solve this puzzle. And then they'll mark whether they were right or if they were wrong. And I make sure they know in the beginning it's not about how many you get right and wrong. Your brain is still reaping the benefits of trying to figure these puzzles out. So it's not a problem to get puzzles wrong. You're still analyzing it and so forth. So going left, I go left to right if I remember right, and the door should open. Woohoo! So this student then, for example, got this puzzle right because up above they drew the line left to right. So they would just mark off, yes, I got it right, because in the end they do an analysis where they have to kind of give percentages of what they got right and wrong, but then also analyze, when they got things right, what were some things that went well and what some things that kind of made it difficult and so forth. So they're always analyzing things. Then they go on to the other puzzles, and there's plenty in this area. You'll see this one would be the same concept. They would draw, pick whatever highlighter marker they want. And now the cool thing about this one is, even if they didn't know anything up here, this was the first puzzle, they now know that every puzzle, it looks like you can infer, would start at the circle. So at least you have a starting point, and they have the rounded edge, so they also have an exit point. So if nothing else, the students now should know, well, I guess I got to start here, and I guess I'm exiting up there. And as they keep working through these things, slowly but surely, they'll learn new things to utilize and put in their memory banks of sorts. And in the end, they're learning little things to add to each one to further their opportunities for success. So again, this was that one. They would go to the hyperlinked video to see if they got it right and so forth. And they continue that process till they get to the end of the levels that I have, and then they do some analysis activities. Down here, you'll see that I just added a couple pictures of this entry level here. And they have to compare and contrast these two and kind of give me some similarities and differences. And another thing I like about OneNote, you'll see all these things, all these little shapes and so forth are easily embedded right from here in OneNote. When you go insert, all I did here was insert, pick the shape that I want. In this case, obviously I chose squares or rectangles. I bring them down here, drag them. I can change the color or the width of the border however I want it. I was feeling purple when I made this, so we'll keep purple. And then really what they have here is they're just comparing and contrasting these two pictures. So when they're ready to type, on the desktop version, you can single click into the boxes. If this were the cloud app or cloud version that I utilize a lot when I'm teaching through Skype, you need to double click to get your, or not double, you need to double click if you're going to type in an embedded picture that you put in there. Otherwise, the picture sometimes gets deleted. However, in the cloud app, you should be able just to click once and you would get your little text box in there to type. So they can just simply type, what they want here. And the students obviously often see that the similarity is they both have yellow chords leading or attached. And then they would go in and they could do the differences they see between the two. Obviously, one has 3 chords are yellow or activated, and this one over here only has 1 that's activated. Then with text, just like in Word, they can play with it all they want. They can, highlight it. And you can go up in the Home tab up here. You can make it bold. You can change the color if you want. Change the font size. Change the font style. All kinds of things that you would be able to do in Microsoft Word as well. Then in the end, a kind of neat thing that I wanted to show you. So the kids have, like I said, at the end they do an analysis. So let's say this was all there was. They had 2 puzzles, which there's many more, but just for our time here. So their total puzzles they did were 2. Let's pretend I got 1 wrong. So I solved 1 right, so I need the percentage correct and percentage incorrect. A little neat thing I like about OneNote here, and since math is my least strong suit, so we'll go 1 divided by 2 equals 50%. There, I told you math was my weak link thing. Thankfully, they give me the equation thing. So anyway, now they know that obviously their percentage correct was 50, percentage incorrect was 50, and then they could go back to my favorite, the little drawing tools up here, and they can pick little colors, and they would make, their pie chart showing, 50-50 or whatever they want, like this. And so a percentage correct, they would fill that in, and let's say they want another color for their incorrect one, so 50-50, and color this in. And so they got their kind of analysis, and then you can click the text mode again, so you can get back to typing, and then they have to analyze it down here. Their most successful puzzle, what was the most difficult, and what they learned through those entry-level puzzles. And basically, they would set this kind of setup would be for each of the levels that we do. So let's say I know the next level is the orchard area. So if I were to add a new area for the students to work within, I would hit Add Section down here, and you'll see a new one will pop up here, and I'll title it Orchard Area. And then just like in the entry area where I give the individual puzzles or so forth, I'm going to add a page, which is here, and I'll call it whatever, Orchard Area, if I could spell today, Orchard Area Puzzles. And then I would do the same thing here where I would be putting the puzzles in there and inserting the hyperlinks and so on and so forth. And I would do this for each of the areas. So if I have 9 areas in the entire Sane in the Membrane lesson plans that I have here that you can see, there's plenty of them. Then I would just keep adding sections and working my way down. So the next area could be the glass factory. So I would have glass factory. And then I would have that in the page in here, and I'd put the puzzles and so forth, and they would work within the pages. So the benefits that I love, and this isn't all you can do with OneNote, trust me, there's plenty of things. Like I said, this is just one little installment here. What I hope you picked up from here is how you can add a section, how you can add pages, and this may be a little bit with how you can play with just a couple tags. Like I said, I have the website to visit tag over here to go to a website. Let's say that I want them to really take note of the human brain is no different than any other muscle in the body. Well, I get to go play with my tags again. I want them to remember that. So I'm going to find my little important thing here, and I'm going to make a star. That means my students know, hey, I need to read this and really take note of it. So see, I added my little tag there, and my kids know they better read that and kind of really take it in. So just a few things that you can play with within OneNote, and then the other idea I hope you were able to pick up on is how simple it is to embed hyperlinks. If you want to, hyperlink a picture or a body of text or whatever. And also one of my favorites, just drawing, just flat out having fun with color and being able to draw within the application as well. And the kids love that too. That's probably one of their favorite parts. So I'll end that one here, but I'm going to have other entries. We'll show how to add audio and how you can do different types of like copy and pasting within OneNote and other little tools that I learned along the way. And hopefully you enjoyed watching this. Thanks a lot.